COVID Chat, Matt Walter edition. Enjoy.
With chats with Coach Doug. Got my boy from all the way from Tennessee. Yeah, he's my guy, Mr. Matt Walter, coming in tonight. Awesome, awesome young man. Can't wait to have him here. He's the one, the only.
What's up?
How are you, my boy?
Man, we're all right. Surviving.
Surviving. That's all right. That's all right. It's nice to see you.
You as well, sir. Glad to see you're still bald.
Yes.
Going well.
Going well, yes. You know what? I'm working that I figure less can stick to this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I guess. It'd be easier to identify if you got it anyways.
You know what? But dude, like the water droplets in the air, nothing to stick to, right? It's like stream.
I got the opposite problem. I hadn't had it cut in 2 months. I'm losing it, man. I made the mistake of getting my hair cut at the beginning of March and then get stuck with my barber closing like the next week.
That's why for the last 20 years, dude, I'm just picking it myself.
I've warned my wife, if it keeps getting this crazy, it's gone. Like I'd say I have my inspiration in Canada, so just go take a look, and this is what it's going to look like.
There you go. Too funny. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So listen, how's everything down in Nashville and Tennessee? You guys got crazy weather.
Yeah.
Notifications all the time. Floods. Nashville flood warning. Nashville tornado warnings. Nashville tornado warnings. Like, oh my gosh.
It's been weird to say the least, because we had the tornadoes come crashing through, and that actually didn't affect us directly, any personal family members, but we have people we know that some lost some roofs, nobody got hurt, but definitely interesting and scary at the same time. I mean, I definitely have looked into getting a better update notification when things go sideways because of that, because luckily I live about 25 miles south of town, so
I know
significantly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I think was
when I saw those, right? I was like, okay, what's going on, right? And of course, immediately I think of you and Shay and the boys, right? And I'm thinking,
that was the first time I ever had, like, I probably had close to 100 text messages come through like that day from like people, and most of them were from people I don't hear from very often. And even my brother went like, "You have tornadoes in your town?" I was like, "Dude, like, do you not know how tornadoes work?" Like that? Yes, all the time. Like they come through here and like to the coast all the time. But like it was humbling because like that was the first time I had to mark myself safe on a Facebook. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah. So that was new.
Right. That's pretty cool. Hey, I feel very privileged. We got Michelle and Dan all on the same Insta Live. That's kind of cool.
Wow. Let's see if we can keep them.
I think they're the only 3. But anyways, that's too funny. Listen, been really enjoying all my colleagues and friends and all that stuff coming on. I can't thank you enough. Everybody, just a little introduction to who this young man is. All right, so this guy I accosted 2 years ago at the draft at Vanderbilt Legends. I was on a trip with a couple of buddies, and he is over there teaching some juniors, and I'm like, he seems pretty affable, pretty, personable guy. I'm just going to go up and introduce myself. And it was like almost from the instant you and I just clicked as buddies, and we've been friends ever since, and we've done some really funny, crazy things at Christmas, wearing some interesting pajamas. On live, right? I mean, on tape with our buddy Allison Kurt out in the on the West Coast. But you know what, man? The one thing I can tell you, the reason why we are close as we are is junior golf drives us together because we're coaches, we're passionate, we have the same, fever, the same drive.
Definitely.
And I can't thank enough for taking the time tonight and on board. And you know what? I'm gonna get right into my very first question. So
send it.
You are an amazing. Like, I don't know how you do it, but, junior golf is a very time consuming, occupation. What have you noticed now, having a lot of time, what have you noticed that it's shown you about how much time you dedicate to your craft?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I was thinking about that question a good bit this afternoon, and my wife will attest that I don't do free time well. So despite the fact that my lesson book is as bone dry as it's been since I was a first-year golf pro, I'm not any less busy. If you haven't seen, I've been doing a lot of stuff with Zach Radford lately, trying to get the YouTube hustle started.
The king of the stinger.
Yeah,
Man, that guy flights it awesome.
He's a local, and him and I. So the tornadoes hit, and the next, I would say probably 10 days later, we did a charity fundraiser with a bunch of teaching pros on the range and raised 20 grand in the court.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so Zach was there too. So we got to chat, and he's like, we should do some stuff together. So I ended up shooting videos, but it's been interesting because I still see kids out practicing and playing. And for me personally, I have more time to be home with my boys and my wife.
Right.
And so that's been a lot of it's been a lot of a different mentality for me too, because at the same time I'm enjoying the time with my family, I'm also making sure the bills are paid, and I kid about it.
I totally get it. I mean, dude, you got to be one of the busiest young pros I know. I mean, granted, these things are all probably on a little bit of hold right now, but still, you flip houses.
Yeah.
You have 2 young boys. They're
under 3.
5, right?
Yeah.
You have a full-time job as a golf coach.
Yeah.
And you run you host a podcast that is very cool, Junior Golf Blueprint.
Yeah.
Not to mention, all right, you are always on social media and you're a busy cat. So it's like, I sit there and I said, I was talking with my buddy, Rudy Gonzalez down in Texas. And there was him, Justin Blazer, and Paul Castor and I were having a chat. And the one thing Rudy says, he goes, you know what this has done? This really shows how much I'm not at home.
Yeah. No, and that's it, right? Like I said, it's like a forbidden fruit for me almost. Like, I enjoy it so much to be around my boys, and I've done stuff with my boys that I probably wouldn't have been able to in the last couple of weeks.
Right.
But at the same time, the back, like, I slightly kid. Like, if this quarantine had happened at Thanksgiving, I wouldn't have taught a lesson. In the meantime, I'm like, yep, shut her down.
Nope.
The winter slush fund has been established. Yep. I'm good. Let's just go ahead and start drinking eggnog and hanging out and whatever.
We probably have about 4 jingles already filmed. Right?
Yeah. Right? But then, like, you asked me to take away the prime 6 months of the year where, I make bread for the family.
Right.
And so it's nerve-wracking. So it's been, for me, it's been hard because I'm trying to keep my concerns and my worries away. And this is something that every parent talks about, right? It's like not letting your kids know that you're upset or you're concerned about the future. And so that's where it's been kind of an interesting battle for myself. But the stuff my boys have been throwing rocks in ponds and throwing rocks in creeks. We've been riding on the tractor. We've been doing all kinds of fun redneck stuff. And I told my wife, I said, the worst thing that could happen is I get shut down even longer, and turkey season opened on Saturday. So I have something to entertain myself every morning.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's funny. Ladies and gentlemen, the difference. Matt lives in south of Nashville, Tennessee. All right. and yes, it's turkey season.
Yeah.
And if you hear riding the tractor with his boys, all right, there's a difference here. There's like for me, I'd be like, I'm riding a snowmobile, but I don't own a snowmobile. But I'm just telling you, there's no snow up here anymore. But man, it's crazy. Yes, he did just say turkey hunting. Yes.
Right. Thunder chickens.
Yes.
Thunder chickens.
Yes. What do you call them?
Thunder chickens.
Thunder chickens. That's unreal. And so how many you and how many guys will go out and like go grab some turkeys?
So unfortunately, my wife's cousins are pretty close. So the 3 of us kind of run around a good bit. And then if they live over towards my wife's hometown, so if we're over there, we'll run out, or sometimes they'll come meet me. And so we're actually trying to figure out plans for either tomorrow or Thursday or this weekend.
Like abundant wild turkeys kicking around out there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I saw one on the golf course shooting a video with Zach last night. I left the shotgun in the truck, but I had half the wits in me to go run and get it.
Another thing that won't happen. Yeah, I left the shotgun in the truck. I got to go get it. That's not happening up here in Canada, dude. Like, that's just not happening. Oh my gosh. All right. So listen, my next question was: there seems to be a trend in really good junior golf coaches, yourself included, that trends to be the personality, the energy, enthusiasm, and their ability to attract and essentially turn a light on inside a child.
Mm.
Right? These people, you know who they are. Like, I've had a few of them on already. I mean, James Jordan yesterday was just amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is. But why? Why is this kind of synonymous with a junior golf coach? The energy, the enthusiasm, the connection, the be able to draw kids out. Why, Matt?
Because you wouldn't be a good one if you weren't. Honestly, I mean, that's a simple answer to that. But I think my wife will make the statement that I am the child that I'm teaching, and so I think what helps coaches like you and I and others that you just mentioned, like James Jordan. I mean, heck, he's half a DJ in this other job.
He did 6 minutes till you fresh is on before his podcast, before we were on last night. It was awesome.
And so I think because like we all know kids have the attention spans of goldfish, and so if you don't have that ability to project, like Gavin Parker is unbelievable. I mean,
Gavin Flo, boy, he is my guy. I love that guy. He is so funny.
And it's interesting because I also, like, my wife has been doing some real estate stuff, and she's trying to shoot some videos for real estate. And so she did this video, and this is a long way to get to your answer, but she shot this video, and I about fell asleep in the first 5 seconds, and I was like, honey, this isn't going to work. She said, well, I wanted it to be, a raw version and feel like it's, just, I'm like, look, there's raw and a disservice to your clients. Like, that was a disservice. Like, we need to do this right. And what I was telling her was, like, you don't realize how much you have to project and take on this other persona when you shoot videos. And so, like, when I work with Zach, and I've had, the opportunity to sit in on some of the stuff that Zach's done, which, by the way, like, here's a nugget for you. So we went and did a 9-hole, the last one we did, the 9-hole video that just dropped. We did a 3-person scramble. That was 3.5 hours of golf for 9 holes to shoot everything, right? And we actually letting people play through. We're playing late at night. We finished at dark, and it took him 14 hours to edit that video, right?
Dude,
so
the time it takes to get the right stuff through the videos.
Yeah,
people don't understand the time that it takes to get it looking right.
That's right. And so, but to get to your point about the junior golf and the energy thing, it's like, one, there's so many different personalities in kids. And so you have to kind of like, I like to mirror almost the kid that's in front of me, right? If he's a talker, we talk. If they're a gamer, we game, and I try to keep who they are to the forefront of how I project to them, because I don't want to project who I am onto others, because that's not a good thing.
That's a great point. I really like that.
Like, you don't want to be me. I'm type A, ultra athlete, competitive, do not like to lose. If I lose, I'm not somebody you want to be with. And there's just kids that aren't in that ballpark. And so you have to know who's in front of you. And if you brain numb them with information, or you put a game in front of them that they're not confident enough of an athlete or a golfer, and they fail, they might quit. So you have to kind of know how to boost their ego. And and so it just comes back to, I remove all expectations of the result in every lesson. Like, obviously, my players. Did I lose connection here?
Why did I freeze?
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. You can't hear me now, right?
I hear you. I can't. You're frozen. Oh, back. You're back. Oh, now there's no sound. Got it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, hold on. One more time.
Everybody, let's try this again. Sorry that I had to kick you guys out. We had to try and get some sound going on. Matt and I both there's Matt. All right, let's see Matty. See if we can get Matt some sound in here. Oh, I hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, now you're frozen. What's going on with this thing, man? I see your face. Buffering. You're buffering. Well, you're buffering. Can you see me move? Oh, hold on. I'm going to wait. You're kind of blurry now. Can you hear me? You're frozen. I can hear you, sort of. All right, try it again. Yeah, dude, you're bouncing. Go out and come back in. So sorry about the technical difficulties here, people. We are trying to establish a connection again down in Tennessee. I don't know what's going on, but here he comes again. Hi there, Laura. Hello, Daniel. Hi, Paul. Stick around, guys. We're trying to get connected.
All right.
We
good?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. See, the problem is everybody's staying at home, and they're on the freaking internet, and I got full service, full bars, and I still drop out. I don't know. And by the way, in case you couldn't tell, it's a mess, so ignore it. Like, right there is my internet box.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm out of connection here. I need that old school Ethernet port.
I think Instagram a lot of times, right? So,
all right. So back to the question though, and wrap this up. Move on to the next one before my internet drops again. Right. Yes, you have to kind of match who's in front of you. You have to know who's there. You have to be able to identify, do they want a bunch of information? Do they want games? Do they want fun? Do they want competition? Where are they at? Where are their goals? And you have to know what they're trying to achieve. Because not every kid wants to be a tour golfer.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. And if you can match that, create fun atmosphere, lay back, and I don't reward, like I think where I was going with that is I don't create an atmosphere where I'm rewarding good shots. I reward good efforts. And that's what matters the most. And usually when you create good efforts, good shots show up. And the track record of my kids' play usually shows that for me. And a lot of people trying to throw credit at me. And I had a guy come up telling me he wants to get his kid involved whenever this thing cools off just the other day. And he's telling me about my reputation or whatever. Say, I don't have a reputation. I have a reputation of good information. And then my kids have a great reputation.
Well, that's a very humble way to look at it, man. Like, honestly and truly, like your reputation is kind of like, you know, what is your character and how is it when, you know, people are talking about you,
mm-hmm.
you know, or when you're faced with tough situations, how do you act and stuff like that? I mean, one of the things I love about you is you're very blunt, and you'll speak your mind, which is okay. At times you also will bite your tongue, and I think that's pretty cool. What I love is you're a realist with your kids. You have a plan with these kids. You care. One of the things I can tell you about why I think these coaches make such a difference in these kids' lives is because I believe that these coaches put all these kids way before themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not all about them. It's not all about us. Mm-hmm. It's all about them. You know.
Yeah. Completely agree. And honestly,
you want to be a wonderful junior golf coach.
Yeah. Well, and that's honestly the hardest part, because there's like a guilt for me when I'm away, to be able to be available and like that's the hardest time for me is like putting time like aside for myself and my family because it takes away from time I know that others need me, and It's like, you know, how do you like you got to put your family and yourself and your health first, and that's just a hard balance.
It is a very, very hard balance. All right, so listen, you were so very kind to ask me to come on. I mean, when we talked and met that very first time, you even said to me, hey, listen, I got to get you on my podcast. I was like, you have a podcast, right? And I went and looked at us. I was like, hey, this guy's cool, man. Like, this is great stuff, right? And you were the very first person to have me on a podcast. I was like, totally amazing. And so everybody, go find it, Junior Golf Blueprint. All right, got some of the greatest coaches, players, and info on there. It's a great podcast. How did you what was your motivation and reasoning behind that? Like what prompted you to, I'm going to start a podcast?
So I have to throw credit to Virgil Herring.
Virgil Herring. I've been on his radio station,
yeah.
radio program. He's a great man.
I've taught next to Virgil for 6 years at West Haven before you and I met. And so he invited me on radio. I mean, I can't remember what year it was, but somewhere in the middle of that tenure. And so I ended up doing 2.5 years of live radio with him. And what was cool about that was, like, me and him would meet up an hour before the show. We'd eat breakfast at like 6 a.m. at Pancake Pantry, or it was mostly Pancake Pantry, and do the radio show. So I had my mentor alone in the morning, for an hour every Saturday, and we chatted, and then we ran off, did the radio show, and then ran off and taught. Like, it was literally like we met Pancake Pantry and then just followed each other for like the next 9 hours. Awesome. And so that gave me the comfort level to be, to project my voice to however many thousands of people want to listen. And so I had a parent come to me and was like, hey, his health isn't like questionable in the sense that like he's going to die tomorrow, but like he's not in the best health, period. And so he made the comments like, if I ever kick the bucket, because he just jokes about it, honestly. And, I just want Luke to keep playing. I don't want to, for him to get out of the game. And I don't know if my wife knows enough to make that happen. Than just take him to the golf course, right? As far as like getting in tournaments and playing in tournaments, getting him to college and stuff like that. And I was like, this is easy. I can put this on a podcast and just off to the cloud, and everybody has that info. And then that was the trigger, right? And then I kept it real cheap the first year or so, and did it on my phone and threw it out on my phone, and then after I'll probably say like 8 months, 9 months, I started buying like legit equipment, doing it on Zoom, got boom mic, all that stuff. This is actually like the podcast rig, right?
I saw that. That's like awesome.
So, all that fun jazz. And then, and then it just kind of took off. I started lining up coaches' interviews, rules, NCAA stuff, Randy Jackson, all this great stuff. And look, I've never had a bad instance where I gave information out and haven't gotten more in return. So, I've never believed keeping it to myself. And some people don't believe that. Some people want to keep things to themselves because they feel like that's what makes them special and what makes them whatever, right? And sure. And I don't care how many times you hear me say one thing of how I want to do it. You can't project it like I can. You can't say it like I can. You can't deliver it like I can. Only I can deliver that message like myself, and you can just be a copycat. So
that's pretty awesome. Now, funny story about your podcast. Michelle Holmes, all right?
Who just commented, by the way.
So do you know, she says to me, she goes, I was just on this podcast with this guy. He kind of reached out to me, and I don't even know who his name's Matt Walter, and this is before we met.
Yeah.
And she says to me, he asked me to be on this podcast, his podcast, my gosh, dog, it's this junior golf podcast. I can't, I'm butchering it, right? But she kind of said that. Anyways, oh my gosh, dude, she was like, it was kind of cool. But she goes like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, I don't know. Like, but he just reached out to me, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and she's so sweet, right? Because she's like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you. She'll talk to anybody, right? Because she's super awesome.
Yeah.
But it's such a funny thing. Oh, thanks, Laura. I appreciate it. That's Michelle's sister, by the way.
But two cool things from the podcast, though. Stories real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. So I had Maurice Allen on.
Oh,
the long drive guy, right? So here's what's crazy about that one. So he won the long drive, and then he, when he won the long drive, he made this rant about giving back to the school where he grew up to help, the kids in need there. And I was like, wow, this guy seems really, into the kid thing. I'll just send him a message, say congrats, and see where it leads me. Well, this dude responded to everybody that sent him a message on social media. So that poor sucker responded to me, not knowing my secret ambition of having him on my show.
Wow.
So when he responded, it was 11:30 at night. I was rarely ever awake at this time. I just happened to be watching the movie with the wife upstairs. And I was like, holy crap, Maurice Allen just sent me a message. And she's like, what? I'm like, so I was up till 1:30 that morning. And if you know me, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. So that's rare for me to want to stay awake that late.
Yeah.
So then I'm texting him, right? I got a cell phone. We're texting, right? We get it up. We set the podcast up. He's like, when can you do it? I'm like, dude, you just tell me when you can do it. I'll make time. And so like literally like I was one of his interviews in the first week of him winning the long drive championship, right?
Amazing.
So then, yeah. And so then the other cool one is I had Lou Graham, who's a former U.S. Open winner, right?
Oh, now listen, I got to meet Mr. Graham when I got the tour from your director of instruction. He took me around.
Okay.
Mr. Graham was hitting balls at the back of the range, and I was like, he's like, hey, watch this. I was like, why? He goes, he's 82.
Oh, yeah.
I go, okay. And I'm watching this golf swing, and it was smooth as butter.
Yeah.
And it was, and the best part is I went up and he introduced me, and I go, well, hello, Mr. Graham. And he's like, well, hello there. He's got, the chaw. There's a hello there. How you doing? It's like Southern drawl, right? It's like, oh,
he's awesome.
What a cool, and that was really cool. You had him on.
Dude, so that one ended funny because he's like, how long is it going to go for? I was like, it's usually an hour. Don't sweat it. And well, if you listen to it, it's almost 2.
Wow. And
it's because like we just lost track of time, and so I literally just like look back at my iPad where I keep my notes for the show when I do those in live ones. And I was like, holy crap! Like we're like 50 minutes over. I gotta get him to like wrap this up because he's a great storyteller. And so we wrap up, and he's like, what time is it? I was like, Mr. Graham, it's like noon. I'm sorry. And he's like, well, I better call my wife. She might think I'm dead.
Oh, that's awesome, man. She has hilarious. Might think I'm dead. That's hilarious. All right, buddy. So here's a business question for any coaches out there. Here's an interesting. Do you put 90% into your teaching and 10% into your business, or 90% into your business and 10% in your teaching?
So I don't like either of those maths. So I'm gonna change your numbers.
That's just what a friend of mine once said. He says you either got to be 90% teaching and then get somebody to do your business, or you do your business and get somebody to do your teaching. Right.
And so the way I looked at it, and is because I don't like breaking it down into 2 pieces, because like it's 100% of what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 100% of what? 8 hours, 10 hours, a day? What are you mapping it against? And so the way I broke it, I re-broke that down. So you got a 24-hour day.
I want to hear Southern math.
Yeah, I want to Mississippi State, bro. This is going to be like, I ran out of digits because it goes to 24 and I only got 20. Okay. So 4 hours are going to be lost somewhere. So you got like 8 or 9 hours of teaching, right? Typically maybe 10 if you throw it way out there on a day, but you ain't going to teach 10 hours a day for a whole season. I hate to say it, but you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to do it well. So 8 or 9 hours of teaching. I'd probably say I get about an hour or 2 hours of like business work done, where I like do booking lessons, social media, emails, whatever a day. An hour and a half workout every day. I got about 3 or 4 hours with my kids every day. And I usually get about an hour or 2 with my wife every day. So that leaves me about 6 hours of sleep, which is usually where I'm at every day. So you can divide that, because we didn't learn numerators and denominators in Mississippi State. But basically, you could put that into whatever percentage you want. But that's a day for me. And even on the days that I'm not on the tee, right?
You're running a tournament.
Yeah. Luckily, I've passed that torch to the first tee and let them carry that torch for me.
Good for you.
Because everybody has like, you gotta. You eventually you get to a point where you have to say no to something, right? And so that, unfortunately, I had to pass that torch along. But for me, it was like, even on days off, there's still like video content or Instagram or emails. Like, I think what a lot of young pros, like, and I'm by no means a success story, but what I can say I've done well is I went to a town where I had no relations, no family. Mm-hmm. I was the only person I knew outside of a couple guys from college, and now the number 8th ranked teacher in the state or something like that now on Golf Digest's list. And so call it whatever you want, because who cares about a list? I've never really been concerned about it, but you can, it's a resume thing, right? But the thing that people don't see is like so the scariest time of my life is I got fired from West Haven when my wife was 7 months pregnant. And so, I think the difference between me and the next guy is that for the next week, I was up till 3 a.m. every day getting things put together for my next move. Mm-hmm. And I could probably count on my hand the number of people I know that have that kind of drive to be in that position. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're on the list. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, and people don't see that. Like, people saw, like, you won't believe the number of messages I got when I used to post, like, I'm up at 4 in the morning doing my workout at 5, and, you know, and then people are like, holy crap. But, you know, when people send me messages at like 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night, and like, I'm like, what are you doing, man? And people are like, doesn't that make you upset? I'm like, no, because when I get up at 4:30 or 5, I'm shooting them a text message back, and I hope it dings next to their ear, and they realize, like, this is what really happens, you know. And it's funny, like, you know, I love the rap game, right?
Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa said, you know, he didn't realize that waking up early was cool until he realized how much shit he could get done. You know, and so for me, like this is a day, right? If anyone wants to know what a day in my life would be like, right? If it's a golf pro day, not like construction redneck Matt day. You know, 4:45 up, gym. Luckily now I joined CrossFit gym, so gym starts at 5:30 now instead of 5. So I'm getting an extra half hour of sleep in my belt, which I'm kind of actually enjoying.
Well, you're old
now. Yeah. So 5:30, 7, gym. Kids are up. Well, now daycare's closed, but gym, home, kids for an hour, daycare. We leave the house at 8 to go to daycare. From there, go to work, home, 6:30. Teaching golf from the day I show up to the minute I show up to the time I leave. Home at 6:30. Kids till bed at 9 because my kids just don't fall asleep for some reason. And then wife till 10, and then asleep, wake up, rinse and repeat. And you know, and that's pretty much every day. And even in this like COVID-19 situation, it's still the same hustle. I'm still waking up early. I can't go to my gym, but I'm getting up and getting things done. And it's just,
it's a different.
I don't.
So I'm gonna put a pin in you is because I guess that's a different norm, though, right? Like it's not changed. You haven't changed the energy or kind of the process of what you're doing. It's in a different place. It's a different norm, right? This has just changed us to be different.
Yep.
Fast 5 questions for you.
Yep.
Right. Straight up honest questions. Straight up honest answers to these 5 questions.
Send it.
All right. Hot wings or ribs?
Wings.
All right. How many firearms do you own?
It's not 5, so I have to count. 8.
Wow.
Are we counting bows? Because it's 10.
Okay, no, but that'll work. Hey, no. Fine. Me, 0. A junior golf coach is?
A mentor.
I love it. All right. Your hero is?
Oh, man. I can't have one, Dougie.
That's fine. Who you got?
So, I mean, my man, it's hard. Like, my dad's been a huge influence for me, so he's obviously has to be number 1.
Right on.
But I mean, I've had so many people on the way. I'd almost feel guilty going past my father and forgetting somebody.
Hey, look, your dad's it's good enough. He's number 1. He was the first one there for you, right? He's your very first.
It.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. They're making the Junior Golf Blueprint movie. Who is starring in the leading role as you?
Man, I would say Matt McConaughey would be a good close pick for me.
Second nomination for Matthew McConaughey. That's pretty cool.
I mean, we did same name, same first name. You know, blue eyes, blonde hair, physique, very similar. Yeah, I mean, what can I say?
That's pretty awesome. All right, surprise question.
Okay.
All right. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and now TikTok. Social media. What the hell is it good for?
So, and I've probably told you this. If not, you're hearing it again.
Yeah.
I would delete all of it if I wasn't a golf coach. It's as simple as that. For me, honestly, it's a way for people to see what I'm doing. I have clients that watch my stuff even though they come take lessons from me. I have clients that want to be on it so their kids feel special. You know, I think overall social media has a positive impact. I think there's a lot of dark holes it can take you, and there's a lot of ways it can betray you. But I think social media is an interesting animal because I've created connections through social media like we're doing right now
Yep.
that I never would have had 15 years ago without it. right? And podcast would not be where it is without it. Like half of the interviews I've done is because of people I've met on social media and never met in person.
Bro, I can't tell you. I can echo that. Two people right now that 100% because of social media: Kate Tempesta,
mm-hmm.
all right, and Michelle Holmes.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Two people I met because of social media. I remember walking up to Michelle Holmes at the US Kid Worlds, and I go, "Hi, Michelle. We're friends at Facebook." And he goes, "Really? And who are you?" It was hilarious, right? But Kate and I have been friends ever since I befriended her on Facebook in 2011.
Yeah.
And I got to meet her, and I mean, you know what? It's amazing how it's changed my business.
Yeah.
And my life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask my wife, it's like social media is like more important than her, but no way is it ever. But I'm just saying, like you're saying, it's such a vehicle.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. And I think, you have the ability to use it for good. You have the ability to use it for, being mean and a jerk. It depends on how you want to use it, right? And
I don't place for those guys.
Yeah, right. And so I think the thing that social media has done that is interesting, and like Zach Bradford is a prime example, and Garrett Clark, is that it's provided a new outlet for people to provide content and an income that would never otherwise have been. Like what Zach's doing did not exist 15 years ago. It wasn't a thing.
10
right?
years.
Yeah, 10, yeah, sure, right? I was trying to buff it out there a little bit, but because you still have some YouTube accounts back there in 08. But
yeah, but seriously, like when my son, who's now 17, he goes on a YouTube channel that has 8 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Right, and he's watching COD. He's watching COD like kill repeats. Right, it's easy, right? Because like this whole thing, and especially now with us being all on lockdown. I mean, hey, look, what am I doing? I'm doing COVID chats with Coach Doug, right? But at the same time, you and I can stay in contact, and everybody can get to see how awesome you are and follow you for great content. Because again, what are we going to do? We now have at our fingertips the availability of so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I remember watching this social media person talk, and she goes, "When I was growing up, you know what? If I needed information, I went to the library and I went to and I looked up information, or I went to my parents' library and they had a set of encyclopedias."
I wonder how many kids have been in a library like that for the information.
Right. Right. And as you said, now 6 letters. That's all you type in. Google.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it tells you everything. If you ask a kid nowadays, "Hey, where do you get your information?" They hold up their phone.
Right.
And it's so interesting because, at times it's such a wonderful tool, but like you said, there's so many things in it that can get you down a dark rabbit hole. I mean, we have seen so many different things in our instructional game go like this.
Yeah.
Where I think it's so important that you need to lift instead of, my friend, said a really good saying. He goes, stop giving people handouts, give them a hand up. Yeah. And really, it's so much about that, right? Because you and I both know the guys that are always looking for handouts. And like, oh, yeah, you chuckle. I know, right? It's like crazy. So, I mean, in closing, what do you think is good, the golf landscape is going to look like this summer?
Man, well, for like us, we're still playing golf in Tennessee. They deem outdoor recreation. So I think this summer is going to be an interesting one because, I know some kids that have scheduled tournaments for the end of May. Like, I guess there's some tours that are thinking the end of May they can do it. I personally think all summer golf is going to be on lockdown, but I'm not a politician. I don't make the rules. So I think the thing that kids have to remember, or players have to remember for golf right now, is like, one, it's probably the only sport you can play right now where social distancing and all these things we have to abide by, you can get done and do and still be just fine. And the way they've done the fly sticks and the cups, I mean, I think that's awesome. I just wish they would have made the holes bigger, but besides the point. And so I think the parameter for golfers now is like, if there was like, and it was interesting because you bring this up, because I was actually on the call because I'm a little too involved. Here's some other nuggets for you today. I'm the chapter president for the Middle Tennessee PGA, as well as the section chair for the Junior Golf Committee, right? So slightly involved. But So there's flat bills.
Dude,
barely
you got
wide
like
enough.
15 hats instead of one.
So I was on the call with my regional manager, who she MLB starts in May. The juniors play. Yeah, we'll see. It means
I'm telling you, it's
baseball maybe, because it's another sport where you don't have a whole lot of contacts. Maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, so where I was going was I saw my regional manager. She's in charge of all 6 sections for the junior league, and she made a great point that I hadn't thought about. So I called her and I'm like, hey, what's the deal? They shut down draft, chip, and putt. They're done. Not happening.
Nope.
Where are we at? Like what and what's realistic? And she goes, we're going to keep bumping it a month at a time until we run out of months. And I was like, all right. And she made a good point in that if all the other sports shut down, what else can kids turn to? And I was like, there it is. There's the answer. And, I think this is the best chance for people to get into the game that have never done it, because, right now, I don't know about you because it's Canada, but down here, I can't drive through my neighborhood at half the speed limit because there's so many people outside every night, because they're tired of being cooped up. There's sidewalk chalk all over the damn place.
Yep.
Like, I'm seeing rainbows and hopscotches and messages and stuff on the street all over the dang place. So there's more people outside doing stuff now than there probably have been in the longest since Pokemon Go. So
Pokemon Go. Nice reference. That's awesome. Wait, hold on. So do you notice, now this is something that I've noticed, maybe it's just because we're Canadian, but I'm finding everybody's way nicer.
Yeah.
Way more patient.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. My wife and I, we live in a golf course community, and the golf course is open, so we can walk the paths, right? And it's really interesting because, we'll come walking the dog. We'll walk up towards a couple, right? We're on the path. We'll both go off the path, walk past, and then get back on the path, right? And everybody's cordial. Everybody's nice, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's what we have to do. So I think what's going to happen for me in golf is, I think you're right. I honestly think golf is going to be not really tournament golf for juniors, probably not till the end of June. We can't take a risk of this thing mushrooming and growing and going exponentially out. Our PGA of Canada, I have to give a strong shout out to my PGA of Canada here. They have been doing an amazing job. I'm not going to mention your PGA. An amazing job for us on providing us content, updates, and I know right now they're working on a strategy that is going to be countrywide on how we go about doing this. And they're not going to do it until they feel safe and they feel they can do it based on medical and correct data.
I will say, I can't speak to the entirety of the PGA of America because they have sent some emails, and most of that just gets swiped over as read for me, unless it comes from my executive director. And I will say he's put out some great content. He's even reached out to everybody in my classification and others that are independently contracted, where a specific email for us about the payment protection program that's available. So my executive director has gone above and beyond. Clayton Hermaka, he's done unbelievable extra work to make sure we're all aware and able to provide a service to our clients that are able to play, but also provide stuff to me as a pro of the educational opportunities, cool. Things that we can be doing in the time, right? And so a huge shout out to my PGA section for doing that. I can't speak to the whole national PGA version of it. I wish they'd kind of bump our dues back a year, but that's besides the point. It's whatever, at that point, it's just it's bureaucracy for the sake of bureaucracy. But yeah, I think golf has an opportunity to do different. I just wish, it's funny. It's I wish we had that opportunity and the ability to bring in group environments to let them play with friends and do things like that. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's really hard to get people to sign up to do one-on-one stuff because it's not as much fun as group stuff. And right. I can't do group stuff. And so it's
I know.
We're doing group stuff on Zoom meetings like James Hong does.
exactly. No,
Which I did give a FaceTime lesson today, and that was interesting. That was the first time I've done that.
Oh, really? I'm doing about 3 a day Zoom lessons. I find Zoom better than FaceTime.
Oh, really? Well, the FaceTime wasn't too bad today. I mean, it worked for me anyways. But I think this is something I taught to the PGM students when I went down to Mississippi State in September and had a chance to share with them my journey and how I got to where I'm at. And I told them this. I was like, look, you can go through McDonald's and there's an Uber Eats sticker at McDonald's, so you can pay somebody to go get your a burger and bring it to your house, and you don't even have to go do that now. How much longer do you think it's going to last till we don't teach golf at a golf course?
Right.
And I think literally the only thing I think that's holding that bracket back is that enough people don't have at-home facilities yet. I think this is pushing the bracket of mats and nets at home so that I think this is going to change that a little bit. As much as staying at home sucks, I think people are now putting nets and mats at home, and those guys are probably raking in hand over fist in the golf industry right now. But
well, it's funny. I think that's why I'm able to give 3 or 4 lessons a day, because in Canada, with us being not outside for 6 months,
right,
we actually have, I'd say there's a higher percentage of us who have it already installed. Like, I have 2 brothers. They have a TrackMan studio in their house. And it's like,
what'd you do wrong?
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I didn't do anything wrong. I got a chance to coach them, right? This is the best one, And it's really cool because Dad sets up a face-on down the line, and they just zoom
right,
meeting, and away we go, right? We do an hour for the 2 of them, and it's awesome. And
well, look, I've thought about converting. I don't know if this will work. I hope this doesn't freak out my phone. I've thought about converting this little space into my master studio as it's like 1 foot short of being perfect, and it'd be a stretch to convince the wife, but but
hey,
I don't know.
You got your opportunity, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there's a chance. I think what this has done is forced golf coaches to be, if you weren't aware of online presence, you're damn well aware of it now.
Oh,
and
sure.
And I wasn't kidding. Like, before we went live, Colin went live, and 17 other people. What's up, Logan? 17 other people went on live as we were doing this, and people are putting up content. And it's interesting because I don't know about you, but my views have gone down a little bit. And I was talking to Zach; his views have gone down a little bit.
Really?
Because well, it's because you started TikTok, but so he's talking. Yeah, I ain't doing that crap, man. And so the 2 left feet and at the bar, but the so much content's coming out. Like, people are posting crap all over the place,
right?
And you can't help but look at it. And so now it's going to be interesting to see, because Zach and I have talked about, and we might have an idea coming down the pipeline where we can maybe be helping people in that situation. But there's definitely Logan, shut your mouth.
It's because you're white. Oh,
yeah, dude. Listen, he's got more tattoos on his arm than I could ever dream about having on my body. But but I think that's where you have to understand that, like, the social media game isn't an easy hustle. You can't just be putting crap up there and be like, oh yeah, people are gonna like this. This is a great tip, and that's the part of that has always been the struggle for me.
A lot.
Yeah. Logan's a former Ranger. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you for your service. Exactly.
Yeah. And quit harassing me every day because you're bored, Logan.
There's my boy Rudy. Rudy.
There you go. I like it. So yeah, so I think social media is going to be interesting. Hustle, internet's going to be interesting. Hustle. That's why I put a push towards the YouTube thing, and I'm trying to make that more of a thing for me. And it's a steep learning curve when you jump in it. And I think between that, people doing things at home, doing golf stuff at home, and I think golf courses are obviously going to be fine. And I think people still like to see the ball fly. It never goes away. But I think the convenience factor could definitely change the way we do our business.
There you go. You heard it from my man, the one, the only, Matt Walter. Follow him on Insta, Matt Walter Golf Academy.
You got it.
Right?
It's at Matt Walter PGA on Insta.
Matt Walter PGA on Instagram. You can see him, you can listen to him on his Junior Golf Blueprint The man is, and you're how old?
31.
All right, so there you go. Early in his 30s, by far one of the best and brightest in the PGA, under the age of 40. My guy and my brother, my Christmas jingle creator, and absolutely a wonderful father, a great golf coach, and an even better person. And you know what, bro? I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
I got nothing but mad love for you. Stay safe, stay awesome, and keep turning out some awesome stuff, buddy. All right.
Hey man, appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. You're an inspiration to me to keep pushing forward, man. I just want to keep up with you, and I hope I live to be as old as you are, but two, I hope I'm as good looking as you are when I get there.
Yeah, 52, and it's just like the hashtag says, bro. Better never stops.
Right. Love it.
All right, buddy. All the best, man. Take care.
See you, brother. Bye.
Bye.